Well, good morning and welcome to CityLine. It is fabulous to be in your home this morning. This morning is May 23rd and it feels like Mayuary out there, but I've been told we're going to have some warm weather for this Memorial Day weekend. And speaking of warm weather, we have a great show ahead of us. Later on, we'll be talking with the Cross District Association of Tacoma, and we have 3 business districts here who are going to talk about their district and what they're known for and some of the challenges they face, so you don't want to miss that. And then Tacoma Refugee Choir is here. They have a concert coming up, and they're here to talk about their choir, celebrate the different nationalities of the Tacoma Refugee Choir, and also Tacoma's Poet Laureate is a part of their event, and she is in the house and she'll be sharing a poem with us. And then with me right now, I have 2 fabulous individuals who are here to talk about the Northwest Furniture Bank Chair Affair. What a great name. Please join me in welcoming back Mr. Jeremy Simler. You are still the Director of Development for Northwest Furniture Bank. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's look at these socks.
Again, here we go.
Oh my gosh, these socks are the bomb. Okay, I think I would like to see some glass blown in those colors. Maybe, you know, like four legs on the chair.
It's possible.
It's possible. Yeah. Speaking of possibilities, Mr. Ben Cobb, welcome to CityLine.
Hey, thank you.
You are the Hot Shop Director and lead gaffer for our own Museum of Glass. Welcome.
Thank you.
And you play an intricate part in this event, so we're gonna find out exactly what it is here. So, Jeremy, for people who do not know what the Northwest Furniture Bank is, what do we say to them?
We say to them that the Northwest Furniture Bank really exists to get people off the floor in our community. So if there are families that are coming out of transitional housing, we are the source for furniture. Like a food bank or a clothing bank, we don't want people sitting on the floor, eating on the floor, or sleeping on the floor. So we work with a number of different agencies in Pierce County. They refer people to us, and then once those people are referred to us, they come in and pay a processing fee. And then it's actually $75. For $75, we get them a house full of furniture. And that's what we exist to do. Yep.
That's incredible. When you were on before, you and I both had one of those aha moments when we talked about that furniture makes a house a home.
That's right.
It does, because, well, just for so many reasons, which leads me to, where do you get your furniture from?
Yeah, we have an incredibly generous community. So Tacoma, Gig Harbor, Pierce County provides a lot of furniture to us. We also work with hotels, universities. We're doing a linen drive with University of Puget Sound and PLU right now, where their outgoing students will deposit their linens into a bin for us. And so I think by the end of the school year this year, which is happening right now, we will launder and then re-roll about 3,000 pounds of linens from those 2 local universities. So we work with the community a lot.
That is genius.
It's great, isn't it?
That is, I mean, I was thinking back to when my daughter was in college, and what did she do with her linens, you know, and she brought them home, but as soon as she brought them home, I was like, oh, we're not using these. We cut them up to, you know, wash the car with.
Right, exactly.
But what a great idea.
Yeah.
So what is Chair Affair, and what does it support?
Yeah, so the Chair Fair is our annual fundraiser, live auctions, silent auction format. It's a riot of a time, and it supports Northwest Furniture Bank. We have done this for, this is our 10th annual Chair Fair. So it's just a fundraiser, and really more than that, it's an evening to be together with people that are combined in heart, I would say, and their heart beats strongly with our mission, which is to get people off the floor in our community.
I love that. 10 years, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a milestone in terms of fundraising and events, because once you hit that 10-year mark, I mean, not that it's ever easy, but you've got a lot of momentum with your audience, and that's where you start to raise some real dollars that can make a difference.
It's fun.
So, Mr. Ben, let's talk about your background. How did you first discover your love of glass? Oof, I know. It's a big one.
I started blowing glass as a teenager in Newport, Rhode Island, and ended up sort of, when I got to college age, ended up going to art school, which was sort of diverted from my original idea of going to school for marine biology.
Wow.
Yeah. Ended up on the West Coast after school, blowing glass in California, and then learned of this place, the Museum of Glass, that was opening up, and applied to be one of the glass blowers there, and was lucky enough to be hired. So I've been there at the museum since I believe May or June of 2002.
Wow, so almost since its inception.
Oh yeah, since before we
Wow.
opened. We opened our doors in July of 2002.
Way to go, Mr. Ben. I love that. So let's talk about the partnership between Northwest Furniture Bank and the Museum of Glass. And Jeremy, I want you to go first here in terms of how it came about, and then Ben, I want to hear your point of view as well.
Yeah. Well, I think you actually said it best. We were talking earlier, and Vincent, we had some really enthusiastic donors that worked with the Museum of Glass and also with Northwest Furniture Bank. So this idea was born. We have a chair fair where we solicit local artists to design pieces, paint chairs, different things like that that we can auction off. So really the inception was sparked out of probably a meeting with one of those donors in the Museum of Glass, and they said, hey, is there a way that we could partner where the Museum of Glass could actually do a handmade piece for us to auction off at our event? And that's really how it was born.
So has the Museum of Glass partnered the whole 10 years?
Yes.
My goodness. Okay. So I have so many questions now, and I have 10 minutes, so this is kind of nice. So the chairs that you make, are they actual chairs that we can sit on, or are they miniatures?
Well, they're mostly scale, unless you're a very small person. One of the hard things in blowing glass or in hot glass is to make something of scale, right? So you start getting out of, bread box scale, it becomes increasingly difficult. And then again, making a full scale chair that's not too fragile,
Right.
it's really difficult. So most of the chairs, some of the biggest chairs maybe are kind of in this range, maybe a very small child could sit in them. But yeah, mostly they're sort of scale models, miniatures, if you will.
So Ben, do you remember what your first thoughts were when it was put to you, hey, we're going to partner with Northwest Furniture Bank, chair affair, let's make a chair?
I think that's one of the things that plays to our strengths at the museum, is that we're problem solvers. So somebody came and said, what do you guys think? Could you make a chair? We all kind of scratched our head for a bit, and we're like, yeah, sure, of course. And then, learning of the Northwest Furniture Bank's mission, we want to support that. So yeah, it was sort of a no-brainer, and it's a good challenge. I will say this, we've been doing it for 10 years. It's kind of hard to think of a unique chair each year at this point.
You're reading my mind. I was going to say, so how do you come up with the theme or the design of the chair and not repeat yourself? Because a chair is a chair.
Chair is a chair, right? So we've made, we work in a team at the museum. There's 4 of us, 5 of us, 4 of us full-time there, and we spread out sort of the ideas. So maybe one year I'll make the chair or be the lead on it, and then one year our Sarah Gilbert might do it, or Gabe Feenan. One of the years our tech Nick Davis made it. And so we each have different thoughts and approaches and aesthetics, so we kind of think of it. But it's always sort of a big decision. We sit down, we're like, what are we going to do this year for the chair? This year's really good. But
Can you tell us, or will it ruin the surprise?
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's not quite a chair, but you spend, a lot of people spend a lot of time sitting on this thing. And
No, and it's not what you think. It's this. Yeah, it's not a toilet.
It's a stool.
No.
bike seat.
Oh, I love this.
And we had the sort of a top section of, like, if you were to take just the top third of the bike and cut it off. So we've fabricated a metal frame, essentially the top third of a bike to hold the seat, which is glass. So it's actually pretty cool. And there's a few folks on staff at the museum that are avid cyclists who ride to work every morning. So it was kind of a no-brainer. But again, it's that idea of, oh, what are we going to make this year?
I love that. So, and you've got 10 chairs that you've made, and do you keep designs of those chairs or pictures so you know that you're not repeating a color or perhaps a design or something?
We do. I have sort of a running tally on our computer and quick snapshots, but it's also kind of up here in all of our brains.
That's amazing because you're at this 24/7. So after a while, I would imagine that there can be a tendency for things just to kind of blur out. So great that you can hold it up there like that. When you think about these chairs, what has the impact been on these chairs?
Well, again, going back to conversations that we had prior to this, over the course of 10 years, those 10 chairs have raised over $50,000 for
Oh my.
So when it comes to auction, it's always the most lively bit of the
I
evening.
bet.
And so that's been really fun. And $50,000 to the bottom line of what we do is a massive, massive amount of money as it relates to our program. Right? Getting people off the floor, the employees that we have to help do that. So their impact has always just been huge, and the fact that they come to the table every single year and they're as problem solvers and say we're in, we believe in this community. Let's do this together. We're just so grateful for that. So.
That is impressive. I mean, and I can imagine, since I spend time in the auction arena, that there is some fierce bidding for these shares,
Oh, yeah.
and there probably are collectors that every year. I want the glass chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I love that. So, in your mind, this is a question for both of you, and I'll start with you first, Ben. Why does this partnership work so well? It's kind of unlikely, because here you have glass and here you have furniture. The two you don't always think go together. I mean, we have Hilltop Glass here, but in terms of the mission, why does it work?
I think it comes down to supporting our local community, and again, just learning what the Northwest Furniture Bank is about. It's for us, it's a no-brainer. You know, everybody can get behind it, and so any way we can support that. If it means a few days in the shop for us to fabricate this piece that's gonna support the efforts, then so be it. You know, so I think, yeah, it's just sort of a no-brainer. Both of our businesses are on the revitalized waterway.
Yes.
And it just makes sense.
What do you want to add to that, Jeremy?
That's really well said. A focus on the community, focus on doing something that's bigger than what we are, and then I think it comes down to relationship too. The fact that we actually like to hang out.
I love that.
It's
you guys do kind of like each other. I can tell there's good friendship here.
Yeah. So I think that's a big deal as well. We all want to work with people that we know, trust, and love.
Yes.
And we tend to support those causes as well. So I think that just from top to bottom, it works really, really well.
I love that. So walk us through the event. From the moment that we walk in this year, what are we going to see?
You're going to see a massive chair sculpture this year, designed by an artist and in front of the Furniture Bank. You're going to see a snapshot of what a mattress and how many mattresses we have delivered to people, dining room tables and chairs. You'll see a snapshot of all that as well. You'll see a lot of silent auction items, live edge tables, to gift baskets, different things like that. We'll move to a plated dinner where there's program and then a live auction, and then we'll wrap up the evening around 9 o'clock with a hearty thank you, and we'll see you next year or sooner, right?
Or sooner, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then once you finish that, when do you start planning the next one?
It's the 28th. Event's
the
actually
29th.
On so the 29th.
The 29th, you start looking at this
exactly
again.
Right. They're actually the hot shops coming by with your team, and we're actually going to do a brainstorm for years to come, so that they'll always have a little bit of kind of a bench, as it were, right?
Sure.
So they're going to come by and look at the Furniture Bank, see what we do. Just
a bench.
Yeah.
We haven't made a bench yet.
So there we go.
I was going to say a bench.
This is so easy. This is so easy. We do this all the time. Yeah.
A bench, a love seat,
Right.
something, a swing, a stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this could go on all day.
So we'll invite. Yeah. You're invited to the meeting as well.
Thank you.
So that'll be.
I'll just send you my thoughts. There we go.
Please do.
Who do we need to thank? Because, I mean, that saying that's so overused, but at this moment I think it's very appropriate. It takes a village.
It does take a village.
And you two are an example of two huge organizations within that village of the Furniture Bank. But who do we need to thank here?
Well, Museum of Glass, obviously this partnership is huge.
Yes.
Puyallup Subaru, a big sponsor for this. The Tucci family is a massive sponsor for this. Von Bay Construction. We have, I could go through the list, and unfortunately I don't have it all in my brain, but we have so many sponsors that underwrite this event because they believe in what we do. And so I would just say a hearty thank you to all of those people, to our board of directors as well, who literally walk side by side with us through all these They're a very active board, and we're so grateful for them. And then all the people in the community that say, come, let us talk about this. So thank you to you as well for hosting us today.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, I remember, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago when the Furniture Bank first got on TV Tacoma's radar. And I thought to myself, of course, how did we not think about this? That part of getting people into a home and helping stabilize their life emotionally, spiritually, physically is they need to have furniture. And it is so simple to overlook that, but it's so heavy and so weighted, especially for people who have been on the streets for some time. Right. To have a place to lay their head, to have a table to eat at, just those simple things like linens. Thank goodness for Northwest Furniture Bank and for the Museum of Glass that comes in and says, okay, we live beyond this building, and for this fundraiser, we're bringing everybody together and we're giving back. So outstanding. I want to invite both of you back to talk about the next chair affair. And next time, I want you to bring some pictures of these chairs, okay?
We'll do that.
I know you've got them in there, so we can see exactly the creations that you've been working on. So thank you so much for being here today. I know you have a very busy life, so I'm going to let you go out there and save the world.
Right, thanks.
You're welcome. When we come back after a little bit of musical chairs, the Tacoma Refugees Choir will be here. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.